This is What a Week.
What a Week. Politricks.
Eta, welcome to another edition of WOW What a Week, #Politricks with Fresh and Botsang. From salary showdowns to party implosions, is SA a failed state? Are the unions a problem when it comes to how badly the cops are paid? What's happening with life Esidimeni? And also, we're going to go to the DRC because there's a ceasefire, but there's also a war. Speaking of ceasefires and war, in Cape Town, members of parliament getting attacked. It's been a crazy movie week, so welcome to another premiere of this week's movie. Botsang, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Fresh. Good morning to you and morning to the followers and the viewers.
Let's jump straight into it. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi says the unions are the problem when it comes to police salaries.
Before we even address that,
Yes.
something that I said to Lati Offset,
Yes.
I need to address with the followers and the viewers. I saw the comments last week, and some people felt offended regarding my view or opinion regarding how foreign nationals are handled. And I could pick up that it's people from Operation Dudula. That is Boniso Ndaba, one of the followers of the show. Boniso is Busiso, but it's Ndaba, as well as Bra Obet, one of the followers. One thing that people should understand in the media industry, or when you are opinionating or giving your observation based on whether background or education or sometimes it's my own mind. I will not always be right, and I will not expect people to always agree with me, because once everybody starts agreeing with you, then there's a problem. You can't have everybody. You can't always also be right. Then you're inhuman.
Yes.
But also giving an analysis is based on my personal observation. And people took an offense when I said Operation Dudula group, and someone said, no, we are not a group. We are going to be a political party. But I wouldn't know, because I don't follow their politics. I saw them as organized people from a community. There's nothing calling people a group. Even a political party is a group of people coming together. But there's a misconception that when somebody explains the laws and the processes of the country, whether I like them or not, or I agree with them or not, people are misconstrued that as if I'm saying it's okay for foreign nationals, especially legal ones, can be in the country as they wish, and that's not the point.
And it's always easy to accuse people of being against you when they point out that what you're doing is not according to the laws of the country.
Exactly.
And it's a similar issue with Israel.
Yes.
Where Israel have been flouting international law for the last 70 years now, if not 80 years. But the minute you call them out on it, they treat it like some sort of victim.
Yes.
When all you are saying is the law says this, you are doing that.
Exactly.
It is wrong.
And
we're not saying we don't have an illegal immigrant problem. We do. We're not saying that clinics and infrastructure are not overburdened. They are.
Yes.
But how you deal with it can be according to the law or outside of the law.
Exactly.
And currently what is happening is outside of the law.
And we
So pointing it out is not saying where we think what you're doing is... Your heart can be in the right place, but you do things that are not legal.
Yes. And
we have to call out the illegality.
Exactly. And calling it out while we are also explaining what the law is saying. And that's why I always say to people, if our laws allows things that we do not like as communities or residents or citizens, let us deal with the law. Let us change the law.
Speak to the lawmakers.
Talk to the lawmakers to say, but this is not working for the country. And we have voted you into parliament. Now, if the lawmakers do not want to listen to us and you want to break the law, but then you must be ready for the consequence of breaking the law, because the government may lock you up, you may have a criminal record. And in explaining that, is saying to people, lawlessness is not something that we can use media platforms to condone, but to say to people, what are the challenges if we are not abiding to the laws of the country? And they are there, whether we like it or not. And that's why we have elections. That's why we have parliament. That's why we have the Human Rights Commission. People can approach those offices if then those structures of state that we have created do not listen to us, or to Operation to do law to communities or to civic organizations, then the problem is between us and those organizations and not between those who benefit.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same as somebody can say everybody who has been a criminal, been in jail, must never be employed, or everybody who has murdered must also be killed, when the law of the country says we cannot kill. And I said it's not nice when somebody kills your family member. We will all retaliate and all be angry, but we can't be lawlessness in order to can make the law correct. We must change the law. But I just needed to address that with our followers and viewers to say it is healthy to differ, and I like it when people criticize us or differ with us.
And we've said for the last 2 years that life is a contestation of ideas.
Yes.
And, if you don't agree with someone, show them your side of the argument and convince them otherwise.
Yeah.
That's all. Calling Botsang names is not going to change the law.
Yeah, I can be called names, but I needed to clear that. And on a lighter note, you see, I brought my mark since we lost our marks. I bought one from home because there's this lady sitting in Australia. She says since we changed the studio, we have lost the plot. We don't see the logos and things so I brought my mark from home.
Okay, absolutely.
Thanks,
But
brother.
also, just for the record, for the last 2 years, we've made it clear that we don't stand with any illegality, including you being an undocumented migrant in any country.
Yes.
Just like you can't go to any other country and be undocumented.
Exactly.
We will never support undocumented people being in this country or any other country.
Absolutely.
But if the laws of the country say, but that person must get services, they will get services.
Absolutely, my
And
brother.
that's what the issue is.
Thank you.
Anyway,
I can go back to what
Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi.
Oh, yes.
The unions are not happy.
Yes.
What happened?
Well, there was an imbizo by the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal province, and all the stakeholders were invited. Obviously, the South African Police Services in the province will be one of the stakeholders. So during his address as the provincial commissioner, he alluded to the fact that the community have been complaining, or the resident of KwaZulu-Natal province have been complaining that they don't have enough policemen in order to combat crime and everything else that is happening in the province. And along addressing that issue, he said there are various factors that why they can't service the communities as they are required to. And he mentioned, for example, that 5 years back, they had 25,000, as an example, 25,000 police personnel in KZN. Now there are 19,000, and the population is increasing in KwaZulu-Natal. So therefore, it's contradictory that the population is increasing, so you'll require more boots on the ground. And he said part of the problem, actually, I listened after our radio show on Thursday on my way home, I listened to that clip again. He said, among others, the labor laws of the country are a problem that needs to be addressed. And he's a manager, so he's talking from a management perspective. And people in the unions took it as if he's attacking policemen, to say unions are demanding salaries and their increments annually. And therefore, the government, instead of increasing the funding to the South African Police Service, they are actually reducing the number of personnel in order to have more money. So I'm saying it's unfortunate that he couldn't explain, like an administrator or a finance person, that what is wrong here is the central government or the treasury, by cutting or not increasing the budget of subs annually in order to can add more boots on the ground, as well as to accommodate the cost of living increase. The cost of living increment for salaries, it does not necessarily have to do with unions. Unions are there to ask for more normally, but it comes naturally based on the calculations that have been done by South African Reserve Bank, as well as other bodies that checks what is the cost of living increment, what is the inflation rate. It comes, if the inflation rate is sitting at 4%, unions will always ask for 8% and negotiate. So that was a fallout between them. Look, I think he couldn't explain it better. He started the address very properly. He raised serious issues that he needs more boots on the ground to can render a service. It's a green tick there. But to say the salaries, and I'm thinking of it now on hindsight, maybe he was saying they should cut the salaries of senior personnel in subs like him and the ministers and others. But if it's going to touch the pockets of the junior people who are already, in my opinion, are underpaid. You know that when I look at what South African police men and women in blue are earning, I think they are underpaid for the dangerous job they are doing in a dangerous society. So the darling of South Africans was hammered by unions for that. But I think there was a misunderstanding. There was an unfortunate situation, and he couldn't elaborate and explain it better. And facing reality, Fresh, to be honest, increasing salaries of people, and I'm talking as a civil servant, increasing salaries of people without an accompanying a better service will make the people say, but civil servants are just being paid for doing nothing. But if the service improves, if what we do as civil servants for the people, they will stand up and say, civil servants deserve that income. So it was an unfortunate situation.
But how do we balance law enforcement needs with treasury limitations, though?
Look, and that's a problem in the country, prioritizing. When we, under the administration of, I think, President Mbeki, because I think from 99 moving forward, there was prioritizing of government departments to say where there are needs, security, education, health, water and sanitation, housing. Those were some of the primary, departments that the government had. I don't know if the government is still doing that at the moment, but I think we don't prioritize. South African National Defence Force and South African Police, now even the Border Management Authority, they had asked, Border Management Authority, as recent as last month, they had asked the government for approximately 2 billion in order to function properly to safeguard our ports of entry and the borderline with the South African National Defence Force. Both the Border Management Authority under the Department of Home Affairs and the South African National Defence Force, who are responsible for the borderline, whether it's sea, air, or land, their budget were cut. They were not given what they asked for. We know with the police, there's been a lament. And I think the problem emanates from political office bearers in the Treasury or the presidency to prioritize security in the country. If we don't prioritize security, why would we cut the budget of SAPS? Why would, in a crime-ridden province like KwaZulu-Natal, and it is the Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal who says they've got a crime problem there. We know we have the same in the Western Cape. We know we have the same in Gauteng. Why would the government reduce the number of police in KZN over a period of time from 25,000 to 19,000 instead of increasing them? Understand? Somebody may argue and say it's not about the numbers, it's about the effectiveness of the numbers you have. That's an argument for another day. What I'm saying is now the head of the police in KZN is saying the numbers of the boots on the ground have been reduced by the government. And why? Because the government does not have money. Now, if they were kept stable, Fresh, if they were kept at 25,000, but you reduce instead of increasing. Yeah. While the population, we moved years back, and I said it last week, we moved from 1994, we were said to be 40 million. We are 63 million according to Stats SA now. So there's 23 million new people living in this country since 1994, and we are reducing the services of security. And I think that's a problem. We are not prioritizing security services of the country.
What roles would the union play in terms of, let's say, there's unemployment. We don't have a budget to pay as many officers as we need.
Yes.
But many of the cops that have lost their jobs were also part of the union. And we know UIF is not necessarily going to fully show up for these police officers who are unemployed.
Absolutely.
Surely the unions should have some sort of role to play in cushioning that burden.
Yeah, like they are supposed to. If you read the history of organized labor in the world, whether it's in the Soviet Union or whether it's in Latin America or in South Africa, it's one of the countries where labor federations. I think the problem is our labor movements, organizations, or whatever you call them, they were politically aligned or linked during the liberation struggle. And in moving into the democratic state, they didn't transform to be independent from political parties. COSATU is still aligned to ANC, NACTU is still aligned to PAC, and so forth, and many others. And I think that's where the problem is. But there's another element that unions are not truthful about. They are not genuine to their members. Unions have billions of money that are invested in stock markets in companies. Yes. You remember the Hitachi with COSATU. COSATU was one of the biggest shareholders of the company called Hitachi. And I thought because those monies are the contributions of the members, they will be used in cases of unpaid strike or unauthorized strike to cushion the members, even if they don't give members the full salary. In case of people losing employment, we have had the people, for example, in city of Tshwane, who were dismissed by the DA-led government 3 years back. They were at home for 2.5 years until the current administration of Tshwane reinstated them. Even if they would pay them back or whatever, but for the 2 years they were sitting at home, that's when the union should have come in to cushion that, because those people went on strike led by the union leaders. But there's another thing that union leaders do as well. Whenever there is no work, no pay kind of strike, union leaders, who most of them never worked, never, they toit, they screamed amanzas, they spoke English better, they get voted into those positions, and they sit in union offices. A true socialist revolutionary union leader who cares for labor would also say, in solidarity with the members who are not getting their salary, we as union leaders, we are also not taking our salaries. But no, they never do that. They get them, and these unions have money.
Why would I leave an air-conditioned office in Braamfontein to go lead from the front?
Exactly.
Why would I want to do that?
No. You are a union leader. You are not a government employee who chases and hires and fires people. You took that position not to represent your jacket. You took that position to say you are represented we are representing the people. They elected you there because they trusted you, 1, with leadership, 2, with the money. Now, if there's money and they are unemployed or they are not earning a salary and you can't cushion them, let's say a person was earning 1,000 rand per month, and then he's on unsecured strike, you understand? At least the union should be able to say, we'll give you 250 per month, a quarter for you to survive while we are fighting the battle. What is this money doing that is supposed to represent, to be the money? Actually, it belongs to the employees or the members of the union who contribute.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in unions. In all my employment, I belonged to a union once when I was a very junior person, until I got into trouble and I realized that these people can't help me. Let me help myself. Because again, Fresh, you'll find that in negotiations, the management of an organization or a government department or an entity, they sit with union leaders there. After 6 months, one of the leaders is employed in an organization or is deployed by the ruling party or one of the political parties, deployed to another government position. You understand? It's a challenge in that instance that they must decide where their loyalty is. But until the working class in South Africa decides to divorce unions that are aligned to political parties in government, then the working class will start seeing the good results.
Absolutely. Let's change direction a bit. Talk about Professor Botsang Mohale.
Yes.
He's again called South Africa a failed state.
Yes.
And a part of me feels that often we don't cut ourselves enough slack. Where, yes, there are things that are not working. There are issues wherever there are issues. Yes, there's corruption. Yes, there's lawlessness here and there. But the country is functioning. So I don't know if the hallmarks of a failed state are what we're going through. Yes, there's challenges. But I don't think the state is failing in the biggest scheme of looking at other states and how they are faring, especially on the continent.
I want to borrow the words of the unions when they took on Lieutenant Mkhwanazi this week to say to Professor Mohale, he must stay on his lane. I think it's about time Professor Botsang Mohale to stay on his lane. It's one of the gentlemen who's very educated and that I respect and admire.
And I love his passion for South Africa.
Yeah, he loves the country. I admire that on social needs of the country. He speaks and writes very well. That I admire. He must leave politics out of this, because all these academics, once they start entering the political line, and they are failing, because the same Professor Botsang Mohale is the same person who was one of the people who were in the forefront of propelling and pushing President Ramaphosa into the throats of, let me not say South Africans, let me say ANC people, because he was elected by the ANC. He was in the forefront. He was one of the people who was telling us how it will be better for the country to be led by somebody who comes from business, who was deputizing President Zuma, and therefore instead of Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma during the Nasrec 2017, we should go for President Ramaphosa. The country did, or the ANC did.
But can we blame a person for the outcomes of something he was not in control of?
No.
Because I can say, support this team. It's a great team. They've been on the trot winning. That's the team to back. That's the horse to back. And then the horse trips and fumbles. So can we blame him and say it's his fault that we believed you when you said?
No, we can't. We can't, because we support people, or we choose or prefer people based on what we know, what we have observed. But I don't know what he based his support to President Ramaphosa on. That was a successful business person, and that's debatable as well. Or was a successful politician. You understand? In my books, anybody who's going to tell me that before President Ramaphosa took reins of the ANC in December 2017 and of the country in February 2018, he was a successful politician, I will ask where? Where has he ever succeeded in politics? If President Ramaphosa was a successful politician, then the ANC should have succeeded in leading the country very well, because he has been in the forefront. Remember, he was he was the first Secretary General of the ANC post-1990 under Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Despite that, he came back, he left for business, he co-wrote the constitution in inverted commas, a same constitution that today, even those who were singing praises to it, when we told them this constitution is utter rubbish, people who were singing praises today after 30 years, they are saying, hey, maybe this constitution needs a review. Then we move fast forward, 2012 in Mangaung, he contested elections, he came out victorious as the deputy president of the ANC and of the country. So he has been there. If you are saying he demonstrated qualities of a leader and he's successful, then the ANC and the country should have succeeded under those leadership roles. And in my books, no. Actually, and as a matter of fact, Fresh, the entities, the SOEs of this country started performing horribly worse under President Ramaphosa. If you look at it, and for those who do not know, entities of government report to the presidency. And then the deputy president in the presidency is becoming the line manager, the political head of all entities. That's why they call them to say they are in charge of government business. Under Jacob Zuma, political president, who was in charge of government business? Who was in charge of the SOEs? Was it not President Ramaphosa? And then he became the president for a full term after Jacob Zuma with the state capture reports and all that. What happened from 2018 to 2024? What are the successes? So I've got a challenge with Professor Mohale when he says he may be regretting now for backing President Ramaphosa, but he cannot say we are a failed state, because for those who studied, politics, and those who studied, socio and economic ills and all those things, they will tell you what a failed state is. It's when there's a total collapse of the functioning of the state. I don't even think we are near the total collapse.
Absolutely.
I don't think we are even near that. We have challenges. We've got 4 or 5 major problems, and people always mention the 3 economic ones: employment, health, and education. I always add into that security of the country, understand? And basic things like water and sanitation or housing, if you want to add that. None of these things, with all the challenges, with all the sexual assaults, with all the murders in the country, very unacceptable rates, with all the levels of unemployment. I mean, we are the world number 1 country at almost 84% of youth unemployment in the world. We are leading all the countries, and those are official figures. Those are the challenges. You understand? We have one of the world's maths class students in the world. Those are the challenges. Those are the problems. But we are not a failed state. We are a troubled state. Pardon me. We are a state that is full of corruption, high unemployment, maladministration, and I, for example, I can challenge that Professor Mohale and say to him, for example, we have some of the most competent civil servants in the world come out of South Africa. Look at international forums where South Africa has representative, whether it's the ICJ, whether it's the UN, whether it's the AU, we perform better against our peers all over the world. So where are we a failed state? We are not a failed state. We are a troubled state that needs, some screws to be tightened. And things like, for example, the outcome of the Mkhwanazi, allegations is going to demonstrate that we are not a failed state. When civil servants like Mkhwanazi, civil servants like Botsang, and many others, and media people can stand up and talk, expose, write, you understand, and what is happening in the country.
Sure.
And look, things are functioning in the country, albeit with difficulty.
But we're not going to blame Ntate Mohale for backing the horse that maybe you feel is disappointing you now, right?
No, we can't blame him. If you can't play your cards very well, it's okay to gamble and not win. We can't blame him for that. But I think he's a very influential person in the society. He's very smart, as I've said, very good intellect. His weight, it may as well resonate with what the former minister Malusi Gigaba has said. And
in fact, that was my next question.
Yes.
That former cabinet minister Gigaba told the Sunday Times that he feels that the ANC's National Executive Committee has failed in its objectives. Le former minister Mkhunu,
he's not a former, he's a minister.
Okay, minister in suspension.
Yes, minister on special leave.
On special leave.
Yes.
Le, now he's been, and you're even hearing mutterings of they must be disciplined because they're being ill-disciplined cadres.
Look, I'm happy with the two. That Botsang Mohale is talking as a citizen of this country, and he can talk broadly about the country, not about the ANC, okay? But they are leaders of the ANC, Mkhunu and Gigaba. They are members of the ANC, NEC. They can critique their own movement. For me, I don't have a problem with it. I actually...
Yeah, but we have internal structures for such. Why are you going to the Sunday Times? Why is a suspended minister Mkhunu publicly saying we're working on an edge, we're in trouble with the local government if we don't regroup?
When part of being on the edge is he's doing or his allegations against him, that one surprised me. Yeah. But I'll focus more on Malusi Gigaba. Fresh, it is very, very important to have an introspect. Somebody told me I must not say the self-introspect. Because it's an intro, it's English.
Yeah, maybe you're looking inside twice. So you're introspecting on your introspection.
On your introspection, yeah. It's very important. Maybe they are frustrated. Maybe Bomalusi Gigaba and many others. There's a lady who came from the Bloemfontein taking Fikile Mbalula recently to say he's a factionalist. There's many ANC leaders who have come up and criticized. We remember Mavushum Simang. President Ramaphosa has said ANC is the number one card. Where did President Ramaphosa say that? Did he say that in the ANC structure? So he was telling us in the media, that's why we know when he said the ANC was number one card. President Mbeki, President Motlanthe, President Zuma, all of them criticized the ANC while they were in the ANC, while they are serving in the NEC of the ANC as ex-officials. Now, does the ANC, if they want to discipline Malusi Gigaba and Minister Mkhunu, do they say it's Animal Farm? There are former leaders or current leaders of the ANC who can criticize the ANC and they will not be howled through the disciplinary hearing. When they are telling the truth, actually, if I was a member of the ANC, I would have appreciated to have a leader or a comrade like Malusi Gigaba who stands up and say, but we have developed policies in government. We failed to implement those policies for the benefit of the people who have kept us in power. And that's why we are losing power. For me, that's a good introspection. For me, it's an honest person. When did he wake up to start being honest? I do not know. But he's honest to himself and his comrades.
He's awake now.
He's awake to say, but guys, we are where we are now because of failing to implement our good policies as the African National Congress.
Now, Ntate Mkhunu says that the ANC risks losing 2026. At this rate.
Yes.
Is he right?
He's absolutely correct. At the rate that they are going, it's a scandal after scandal every week. He is a scandal himself where we are sitting at the moment. So he may also have had an introspection to say, hey, if I didn't have relationships with the TK Molefe and the so-so...
Alleged relationships.
Yes, they're alleged. would have not been where we are. Actually, it's not even an alleged relationship because they don't deny the relationship. They deny the criminal relationship. The nature, yes. But to say we know each other, we are comrades, we work together, they're not denying it. So there is a relationship between them. What is the kind of relationship? We don't know. But they would have not been his situation or his allegations have made, or allegations against him. They've made the situation worse for the ANC. But the ANC is not helping itself, Fresh. I was listening to the news during the course of the week regarding the Western Cape because they want to assert themselves in the Western Cape. Guess who they are putting in the forefront? It actually was news yesterday. They're talking of putting Ibrahim Rasool. Remember, he's the former president, yes.
But didn't he lose the Western Cape?
He lost. The ANC lost the Western Cape on him. Now they want to take the same person to say, hey, you must go and recover, reclaim.
Go fix the milk you spilled.
Yeah. Look, I know why they're doing that. His utterance is a relationship and believes in the Palestinian battle, and he's passionate. It's like you, he's very passionate about it. And there's a very big Islam or Muslim and pro-Palestinian community in the Western Cape. So probably banking on that. But I don't think a person like the former ambassador Ibrahim Rasool can connect and relate to the majority of the voters in the Western Cape, who are the so-called colored people primarily, then the people from the township. Because the Western Cape is not Cape Town. You know, you talk Langa, Gugule too, or, you know, all other townships. You need somebody who can infiltrate that. So this mentality about...
But does that person exist outside of Rasool, though?
No, look, they had people, they tried. At some stage, they tried to use...
Hence, I'm saying, though, that surely because he walked the fire...
Yes, he's better
of all the people that are in line for that position, he's probably the most qualified, regardless of who else you're going to throw in there.
Tato, what makes a failed person to qualify? He failed.
Hence, I'm saying that he's walked the fire. He's still a part of that community. And if you're going to look at other people in that community who might be of influence, chances are he's still more influential than the others.
In my view,
yes,
I doubt.
We lost the ranch. We lost the farm. We can admit we lost the farm.
Yes.
But who better than the guy who lost the farm to say,
This is where I did wrong.
Go try again.
Yeah. Probably.
My worry is not even that whether it's going to win or fail. My worry is the DA is so deeply entrenched and the PA are also slowly eating away at some of the constituency that there's almost zero possibility that the ANC will ever claw the Western Cape back.
That's why when you asked me if he will succeed, I said no, not because of the person, but the organization as a whole. They have failed the African community in the townships and the farm areas. They failed to represent them. You can't rely only on the so-called colored community. White people are very clear with what they want in the Western Cape with the DE, but you can't rely on the so-called community when actually I have found a home with the Patriotic Alliance. If I was the ANC in the Western Cape, I was going to take an African person, so-called black people, from the townships, from the farm areas, with massive following and support. You understand? And give those kinds.
If that person exists, they would be the one right now.
Fresh. With the ANC, it's a big organization.
It is.
And you can't tell me that they keep on looking at the old stock.
But the point I'm making is, if, let's say, the person exists, whether they're from Gugule to Langa, from the Cape Flats, the fact that that very person you're saying could exist has not gotten the ANC back to where it used to be during its Western Cape glory days, means that already we have a problem, that person does not have what it takes to bring the people back, to convince the people that, listen, we are regrouping as a party. There's a renewal that's been promised. And to a lot of people, a lot of these words have become just platitudes now. That we are renewing, we are resetting, we are reorganizing.
That I will agree with. This renewal of the ANC, they've been saying it from 2017 December. To say that we're on renewal, we are going to 2025 December now. There's no renewal. It got worse. That's why I think the processes and the structures within the organization from top to bottom are not functioning. They are not, because if some of the leaders in the NEC gets frustrated and resort to the media when they're supposed to be custodians of the processes, the policies and the structures. Now they resort to the media. They lament. I mean, Malusi Gigaba, instead of saving the or Rasulo, instead of saving the ANC and say to the members, this is what I've tabled at the NEC meeting or NWC meeting, and it was accepted or rejected, and brief back the members. He's actually lamenting to the members to say, my hands are tight. I cannot move. I'm now frustrated because the ANC is busy eating itself. But that's the challenge of the old liberation movement. And I think the biggest challenge of the ANC, it is recycling deployments.
Sure.
I don't know why they're stubborn about it. It is actually backfiring. It is working against them.
Do you feel like maybe there isn't necessarily a succession plan where there are young, fiery, very intelligent youth in the ANC?
Absolutely.
And you almost feel like they're waiting for that turn, but we must also respect the Grotman, the sister. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it almost feels like you don't want to rock the boat because you want to be next.
And that is the biggest challenge, the fear of not wanting to rock the boat. The fear of, and I talk to a lot of ANC people. I'm actually surrounded by ANC people, and I tell them, Lemagwala, you are cowards. You can't call out your leaders when they're messing up your own organization so that you can rise and show them. But I think it's not even about the succession play. I think it's a culture of saying the old ones must mess up and continue until they finish messing up. Then when the next generation comes, they are so much used to messing up and they think it's the right thing. That's why the organization, the ANC, pardon me, it has dismally failed to cut, the line or the chain of kids when the eras of Mandela and Mbeki ended. And they thought in Polokwane we were bringing Jacob Zuma with vibrant unions and people. People thought that's a change. Understand? The culture continued. Some said it got worse, some said it improved, but it continued. We thought come 2017 in Polokwane, that's exactly 10 years after President Ramaphosa takes over from President Zuma, and people thought, it's a new dawn. You remember? That was even the word used. It's a new dawn, Tumamina and renewal. But look at the culture. The culture continued. So what happens is, the conduct and the behavior of the veterans and the old ones, it gets so much transferred to those that they're supposed to be grooming, but they're not grooming them. These ones are sitting there looking at the other and they copy. That's why it has become normal for ANC deployees to be corrupt. It has just become normal and they're brazen about it. Because they saw the ones before them were corrupt, they got away with it. The following generation come, they get away with it. Nobody gets prosecuted. Nobody gets jailed. So it has become a norm. And the young ones, they see themselves and they know now, if you want to get there, you must wait. You must behave. You must have a faction. Go in, start eating. When your time comes, you go on the side, you keep quiet. The next one, and that's the culture of the organization. That's what they should be focusing on. Reflecting on their conduct and behavior. And I'm one of the people who have said ANC have very brilliant people.
They're brilliant young people.
Even old ones are brilliant, some.
No, but what I'm saying, though, just in terms of, when is it hanging on for too long when they're young people with bright ideas, new ideas? And this is me not saying people must be retired, but you need to also strike a balance between we need to bring the youngsters in. When you hear stories of Madiba was very fiery as a youth league president. Peter Mokaba, very fiery. Julius Malema, very fiery. And I'm hoping Colin Malachi can also come with that amount of fire to say, man.
They have it until they get into parliament and they test corruption, they taste greed. The problem is greed. The problem is greed. And I feel sorry for some of the ANC deployees or people that I know. They are good people or they were good people. But you know why they become greedy as well? It's sharing your income or the budget of an institution you are running. Part of it, you must make sure that it is being funneled into the organization. And that's what makes them greedy. You will say, this person has been earning so much money. Why are they not retiring? No, they did not earn that money. They can't talk about it, But I will tell them openly, they don't earn the total income because part of it, you must share it with the leader who has deployed you, who has made sure that you occupy that position. And that's why those who are in political and senior position in government, they can't cope with civil servants who are not their members or followers.
Ah, yes.
You understand? That's why there is that disjuncture in the civil service, because you have a DG who's a deployee of the ANC, and I'm making an example, not all DGs come from the ANC, or a CEO of an entity who is deployed by the ANC. And then you have senior managers or executives who are not deployed, who are civil servants professionally, and they conduct themselves in a manner that is not in line with the ANC policy. They are serving the civil service, the public service. They are not serving the organization. And that's where the disjuncture is.
And isn't that why the argument has always been, maybe let the civil service be about career civil servants?
Yeah,
so
but you can't run away from eat fresh.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It can't be wholly
Sure.
that, because we belong to various political parties.
Absolutely.
And it can't be wholly professional. It's good if it can be. But you've got a political head who doesn't want to think along those lines, who is not broad-minded to say, as a minister or a DG, I'll be successful if I surround myself with professionals in their fields. I don't care where they come from. They don't look at it that way.
Let's find the best person for the job.
Find the best person for the job.
You know what? Not personally for me, I don't have a problem with deploying your comrades. It happens everywhere in the world that you want to be surrounded by people that you trust. I mean, Trump has his entire family in the White House.
Yes.
For me, it's, yes, surround yourself with your comrades, but find the best person for the job so that you can deliver and say, this is what I've delivered.
Absolutely. And if they don't deliver, do not be shy to tell them, comrade, I've given you an opportunity, you have failed me, step aside.
I laughed the other day, speaking of youth losing the fire. Remember Nompendulo Mkhatshwa? She was the face of Fees Must Fall. Young lady.
Yes, the one with the duke.
Yes.
Yes.
And the other day she posted something on social media. Majority of the posts were, now we liked you, but now that you're on the inside, you've lost your fire and you're not about us anymore.
Yeah. Where is she?
She's in Parliament.
Oh.
Yeah, she's an MP.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
In fact, let me fact check myself, but I think she is an MP.
Oh, I didn't know. She just disappeared from there. On the Fees Must
So,
Fall.
but that's what people were arguing, though, that to shut her up, they brought her closer.
Actually, let me be honest with you. You know who was responsible of dismantling those people?
Yeah, she's a member of Parliament.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And she's only 32.
She's a member of Parliament for the ANC.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you who was responsible for dismantling. That Fees Must Fall. Remember, it was not a COSAS or PASMA or what aligned.
Yes.
It was students.
Yes.
And it started spreading like wildfire to other institutions because it was started by vets. Then it went to Stellenbosch and others. You know, Gwede Mantashe, I saw how Gwede is a master tactician in politics during that time. And when he went to address those students protesting. And I think Mr. Mantashe and President Ramaphosa, they sat down and they took a very serious decision to say, you know what, dislocate these youth. They are a danger. They knew, because they knew as previous youth of the 70s what youth is capable of doing. I mean, one of the first things they did was to jail, who's the guy, the other guy, the firebrand, the guy that Dlamini. Yes. Jail him. He was a law student. Because of a criminal record, he can't go and practice law. They've destroyed their careers. That one is like he's sitting in Parliament.
No, she's not. She was member of Parliament until last year.
Well, she's no longer a member of Parliament. Okay. And what is Kamini's first name? And he will be angry with me that I forget his name. Actually, I want us to invite him on the show. But this is the guy who said South Africa is a movie.
Yes.
Yeah. They actually destroyed those kids. Let me tell you, even going to Parliament, do you know that going to Parliament, it's supposed to... Yes. Going to Parliament, people must never, ever look at it as a career. There's no career there. There's no career. You must have a career first, graduate on something, practice something, go in there as an expert. Like Bob Dr. Letlapie, like the DA spokesperson. You know, many other people, if you look at Bob Molefe from MKP, They have careers that
Sure.
if they are recalled there or something goes wrong in Parliament, they can go back to their careers.
We're running out of time.
Yes, sir.
Let's move. Life Esidimeni, remember 10 July 2024, Judge Stefo found that former Gauteng Health MEC Mahlangu and Director Manamela were criminally negligent in at least 9 of the deaths for the Life Esidimeni tragedy. A year later, 10 July 2025, the NPA had taken no action to prosecute, prompting sustained condemnation from Section 27 and affected families. This week, we're told that they will only be tried for 2 of the deaths.
For 2, yeah. And what did the judge say? 9?
At the time, back in 2024, that they were criminally negligent in at least 9 of the deaths.
Yeah, at least
of
9.
the 100 plus deaths.
Yeah, it's 144 in total, the deaths of what happened at Life Esidimeni. But if you would recall why Judge Matamela had to preside over this matter, it was referred to by the NPA to the judge who can guide them and make a decision. So after the police had investigated, parallel to the Mosinike Commission on Life Esidimeni, parallel to that, the South African, that happened I think 4 years back, the South African Police Service, or even more, I don't know, Mosinike Commission, I think it was more than 4 years ago, because 4 years ago it was lockdown, it happened before lockdown. The South African Police Services that people claim they didn't do that, or they don't do their job generally, they did their job. They didn't just rely and waited on the Mosinike Commission report or outcome. They conducted a criminal investigation because Section 27, the organization, as well as some family members of the deceased, they approached the police and opened cases for murder because some of the people who visited their family members fresh, over 200 people testified in the Mosinike Commission. Family members, over 200, because sometimes one person will have 3 visits. Now, 3 family members come and testify that, you know what, we have seen our family member there. No drugs, no care, malnutrition, and they complained. So they laid criminal charges. The police did their job. As prescribed and or as required, the police then took the dockets after investigation, after almost 2 years, and handed them over to the NPA to consider who should be prosecuted.
Ah, yes.
That's what happened. Then the NPA, under Meshamila Batoi, failed to do that. They actually took those dockets and referred them to a judge. That's where Judge Matamela, not to say there were hearings or court proceedings. It was for a judge to go and investigate and advise or guide the NPA. That's when the judge came with this report to say at least, and he didn't say only 9, said at least 9 of them, they must face, and those 2 people must face criminal prosecution.
But now it's down to only 2.
Now the NPA says they may consider 2. It's not yet even finalized. They haven't even tabled the document or enrolled the documents to court for the former MEC, Trajani Mahlangu, and as well as the director for mental illnesses or mental disability to face prosecution. They are reducing them to 2. 144 people die negligently in the hands of the public servants, and you want to prosecute only for 2 deaths. I think it's an insult to the families of other 142 people.
And what of the people who clearly on a cash grab said, I am an NPO, I'm an NGO, bring some of the patients here?
Yes.
I've got 0 experience. I don't know how to care for people that need special care, but bring them here and bring the money with it. People died at people's hands.
At hands of people, yes.
How are they not
implicated or
Yes.
capable of this process? And that's my question as well, to say, you want to charge and prosecute a political head. I'm not going to defend Mahlangu at any. I think she must be charged and prosecuted as a political head. The second part is you want to take the head of that section, particularly let's say, what about the head of facilities who had a responsibility to go and check where they are taking these human beings
Yes.
from safe homes to those facilities, if those facilities are adequate to can accommodate.
Because surely check first
You check
and then follow up.
and when the Gauteng government gave this contract or these services to all these other organizations, what informed them that where they were, it was not good? And people are not asking that question. under the leadership of and when they started, I don't think it was Panyaza Lusufi when they were moved, when this thing started. It was before, I don't know who was the premier before Panyaza Lusufi. I can't even recall now. They were moved just before Panyaza became the premier, when that decision was taken. A decision that was informed by an ANC policy. The ANC policy on what? They developed a policy on education sectors. You know, when they closed technical colleges.
David Makura.
That's David Makura.
Yes.
This happened under David Makura's watch, okay? They developed the ANC, not in Gauteng National, they developed, despite the education one, a policy to can close what we used to call health services homes or care homes. They developed a policy, let's get rid of the care homes.
But why do we need why are we getting rid of care homes?
If I was it's the same as why did they get rid of technical colleges and teachers training colleges? It's the same reasons they have. Now the ANC develops this policy. They pass it in their NEC or in their policy conference that happens before the elective conference. Then after, the same ANC rises and takes this to parliament as a bill. It gets passed in part because they had the majority. They could all vote. They go and they implement it only in Gauteng. That's one question. If I was investigating, I would ask, but why did the ANC do that only in Gauteng? Under whose watch? From the premier, they were all culpable of this whole process. From the premier to the MEC to all officials of government and the benefactors, those who had backyard rooms and said, I've got a clinic, I can take care of 10 people, adults who are mentally
They need special care.
They need special care.
Or
Some of them are
specialized care.
specialized care. Some were disabled. And you take them from homes where some of them, they've been there for 20, 25 years.
Yeah, they were sent to the deaths.
Yes. You send them in the middle of Mamelodi in the backyard room. That's not tested. That's not monitored. That doesn't have professional nurses.
That has no track record.
There's no track record of doing that. Everybody, in my view, everybody who was involved in that process.
So the whole value chain.
The whole value chain must be brought to book. Let it be the court and evidence before us as a nation that will say this one is innocent or he or she did his part. Not for the NPA to say out of 144 deaths, only 2 maybe prosecuted.
So what? The other ones were suicides? The 143 was suicides?
Yeah, Tato, I want to back. I'm not a person who backs, what do they call these organizations? NGOs.
Yeah, Section 27.
And yeah, but the Section 27 and those families, I think they deserve our support as the nation. They deserve our noise because this could have happened to anybody. Unfortunately, political office bearers, like in crime, it never happens to them. It never happens to their families. It's very rare you will find a member of an MEC or an MP or a minister is hijacked or raped or murdered because they are protected. They live under security. I don't wish any bad thing to happen to anybody's family or to any human being, but only when it happens to them. They wake up. They will start talking security. We are sitting with 144 deaths of people who depended on us as a nation.
Yes.
Money was allocated to people to take care of those people. Money was made. Special money was made. You understand? And those people just perished. And we want to sit here and say nobody should face prosecution or 2 people may face prosecution. May is a keyword for only 2 deaths. 2 people for 2 deaths. So what do we say about all that? That's how we have become inhuman. That's how we have failed to until it happens. But it will not happen to politicians and their families because these people are going to safe houses.
Sure.
They are going to private hospitals, even international clinics.
I'm sorry to drag your mother into this.
Yes.
Your mother worked at Life Esidimeni.
Yes, for over 25 years.
And when she saw all of this happening, she resigned.
Yeah.
Because she felt that what you guys are doing is wrong. You don't have experience with dealing with people with special needs. I don't want to be a part of this.
She's a trained nurse only on that. She specialized. She left her job as an admin person to go into nursing when she was old. And that's all she did for 25 years. When she called us fresh to tell us she's retiring and what was the reason, me being in the political space and my brother Papi, we actually said to her, go to the commission and testify. She broke down. She said she's not going to go there because she doesn't think legal people and politicians will understand what she will explain, why those children, she called them her kids, need special care. You know, my mom is out of retirement now. She's back at work in a mine-owned clinic in Randfontein. You were there with me.
I met your mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
You saw it. It's an old age home for people who special needs. And at her 70s, she's there because that hospital or clinic or the mining community, they saw value in her with her experience.
Sure.
To take care of those people. But she was very sad. I don't think she has recovered. She doesn't like, I hope she doesn't watch this episode. She doesn't like us talking about life Esidimeni. She actually likes saying it destroyed her career.
No, because literally her babies, as she called them, were sent to their deaths.
Some of the people, she will say, you know, this person on this list, about 15 people on that list, she said they were her children or patients, as we may call them, for over 15 years. She knew their families, their challenges. She knew their prescriptions by heart. You know, old school nurses. And that's the challenge we are faced with. You see, you destroy such civil servants, then you go and destroy people's life. For what? What cost life Esidimeni Fresh and the viewers or listeners and followers? It is nothing but greed. That's what cost life Esidimeni. People saw a cash cow there. And we are so evil in our greediness that we are even prepared to let people die for us to can make money on cash out of that. And that's the challenge the country is faced with. We need to pass that moral fiber stage. You know, some element of humanity has to kick in. If we can go and take Israel to the ICC and the ICJ for acts of humanity by Israel, while we are doing it right at home. And as Americana, Life Esidimeni, and many others, children are drowning, children are dying in pit latrines. Then you have a president who asks, why are children dying in pit latrines?
Why are people poor?
Why are people poor? Why are people unemployed? The whole president, I was sitting there like, Mr. Ramaphosa, because you and your people and your deployees and the ones who are employed are failing to do the job. That's the answer. We don't need a dialogue to go and say, there's no water in my tap. But yeah, it's a sad story. I think Section 27 must push this life Esidimeni issue. They must fight to the bitter end for the sake of those departed souls.
We still don't have a total abolition of pit latrines, and Section 27, and we're fighting that. In fact, there were. I think there was even a deadline that was given by a minister a year or two ago that pit latrines will be eliminated, and there's still kids risking drowning to death in poo.
Minister of Basic Education is from the DA. She gave herself 2 years. It's ending in June next.
No, but before her, there was another promise.
Before, yes.
There was another promise then.
We should hold them accountable like we did in Jimutsaka and the others. But they don't care.
And for me, it's also what stops us from saying, if your community school has a pit latrine, how are we not getting together with local business, local plumbers, local construction workers, and local construction companies and say, guys, can we eliminate this thing?
Yes. Because somebody must
all of us work together to eliminate this thing?
That's not the intention. The intention is somebody must have a tender to make money out of government to say, I'll build the toilets, and they never build them.
Every community with a school has business people. Every community has a plumber, has a construction, even has a guy who makes bricks in jail on the side. Yes. How are we not all coming together to say, let's eliminate this one problem and then let's work on the next problem afterwards? Now, for me, that's what baffles me.
Mental liberation.
And I'm not trying to absolve the department of their responsibilities, but in terms of just bigger picture and caring and giving a damn, it's our responsibility, all of us, including the community. Exactly. We can't wait for government to do certain things.
The parents of the kids in a school, my primary school, for example, we were almost 500 at the primary school. So there were 1,000 parents, or maybe 700 parents, because some were single parents. Of 500 parents for 500 kids, you can't tell me out of 500 parents, we can't get 10 bricklayers, 10 plasterers, 1 architect,
a plumber,
4 or 5 plumbers. We can't, but it's because of the culture that the ANC has brought into the people when they took over government to say, we will supply. It is that culture that people are expecting the government to do things for them.
Sure.
But the government also, it's not enabling the environment for the people. You see, the government does not have to do things. A government can enable to say, I've got the budget, and I've always made an example, say we want to build 10 toilets. We want to take 50 people from that community only. Either we upskill them or train them to can build those toilets. We are not going to give tenders to Botsang to build 10 toilets. No. We'll take from that community the element of responsibility, the ownership of the project, the care for their own children. I can tell you that community will do that job, will do it if they are enabled. So the government has a duty to can enable. If me and you are saying the business people can sit and say, it's greed again. Business people are there to make profit. Business people say, I'm here to make profit. I'm not here for social services. And more often you will find that people who are running businesses in a community, more, if not often, they don't originate from that community. So plowing back, it's not in their nature.
It's not in their interest.
Yes, it's not in their interest.
And, I mean, I'll give you an example. About 2 years ago, I visited my parents at our home village.
Yes.
And I happened to overhear the village development committee chairperson talking about families that don't even have a toilet at all in the village. I donated 5 toilets to these companies. That please find local plumbers, local construction people. Let's build them toilets, and we did that.
That's how it's supposed to be.
And for me, that's the point I'm making. That at a certain level, we need to all give a damn. I mean, how can a family not have a toilet? If you're able to donate a toilet, do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't just say government must. We all must.
The culture of Ubuntu. It was brought to us by the government. They started, spreading this. However, it was supposed to come from us, not the government. And again, I think South Africans are waking up to the fact that the government is not there to serve the interest of the people. They are there to administer the lives of the people. Our interest must rely on us. Look at crime. Look at communities where they have taken crime and organized. What do you call them? The community policing forums.
I'm literally in conversation with our local community policing forum in Honeydew because I want to volunteer on weekends that I'm not working. Because if we're not all getting involved, who must do it?
Exactly.
Already our police are overburdened.
Yeah, that's trained.
But if all of us can say, when you're available, donate 6 hours of your time at a weekend.
Yes.
And join the patrols, join the policing forum. You do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing for my community because I'm part of the community.
Must I get you a bulletproof vest?
Because, no, that is provided already.
The Honeydew area, my brother, and it's one of the most unsafe places
I know.
in the Gauteng.
And that is why I am choosing to get involved. Because if we don't all get involved, we can't turn around and say, our neighborhood is overridden, when we all have capacity to do something.
Yes. And look, also criminals, they are not stupid. Once they observe and they realize that this community is standing together,
And they're patrolling
all the time. I in my main home in Centurion, you must see how we are organizing our street. I tell people our biggest stress in the past was whose dog has come out and patrolling the street. Then you go and you report that, or you send a message in the group. But it starts with those little things.
Organize.
You understand? Organize yourselves. And I think South Africans, we must rise as a nation and organize ourselves. The way the families of Marikana, the families of Life Esidimeni with Section 27 have organized themselves to keep it there. Because the NPA, those files were going to be shoved under the carpet. But they are being kept alive thanks to those families.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
We're out of time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we're out of time.
Okay. What did we leave behind? Something.
We're supposed to go to the DRC. We're supposed to go to the Western Cape.
Let's leave the DRC. Just a comment from my side.
Members of
Talk
Parliament.
about the M23.
Ian Cameron, Nicholas Gottsell, and Lisa Maurice Schickeling were attacked near Philippi in the Western Cape.
Yes.
And MP Cameron happened to have his firearm and defended himself.
I think the police must first check if MP Cameron's firearm is a licensed one.
I doubt it would be unlicensed.
Well, I don't know. Fresh, in this country, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, sorry for those MPs or those citizens of this country, but I was saying when the first reaction of the Democratic Alliance was, yeah, that's why we need South African police services to be federated. My first response to the leader of the DA was, hey, that nonsense will not happen in this country because we are not a federal state.
Yes.
And the DA is governing the Western Cape. Even now that there are 3 MPs have been attacked in Philippi, which is a province, a region, and a town that they are governing.
Yes.
What does it say about the security that the DA has arranged in there? Look, smash and grabs, car hijackings, murder, and robberies are part of our life in South Africa, are part of what we go through every day. I don't know how many times did I miss smash and grabs. Now it happens 1 to 3 MPs. It's a wake-up call. We don't wish such to happen to people, but it shows how the glorified DA claims that they are governing the Western Cape well. The people of Philippi, I've been there many times. People who know that place, it's like hell. They go through this every day. He was lucky. They were 3 in a vehicle. He had a firearm to can defend themselves. Imagine it was 3 Patriotic Alliance or a UDM MPs who were there on their party duties, community oversight duties for the party, not for parliament. We must put that on record. And they get attacked and they were not armed. You understand? They come from there. They are governing there. They are ruling that place. They should have made sure now maybe they will go and improve security for the people of Philip because they saw what happened. And I'm glad nobody died.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm very happy. But this happens to all politicians who watch this show. This happens to us, the noble, ordinary citizens, every day. That's what we go through. That's why there are between
if there's a genocide, that's the genocide.
Yeah. 18 to 22 people are killed in South Africa every day. Every day.
And
Those are not my stats.
And majority cannot defend themselves.
And the majority cannot defend themselves. I mean, how many South Africans have legal firearms? You understand? Even those with legal firearms, you can't just use it.
And I'm hoping that MP Cameron and his group also realize that in a lot of communities, the minute there's a car with Ngamula's A3, just go.
Yeah.
Because that's where I might get my bread tonight.
Exactly.
If I take that phone, I might get a bit of bread tonight. That's the reality for a lot of kids. I'm not glorifying crime or justifying crime, but if that's where these and they're kids, they're 16 and 18, I think.
They're kids.
So for them, they saw small goal.
They saw cell phones and a handbag there and small. I don't even think they were going to hijack the vehicle. with bricks.
Yeah.
And who hijacks the vehicle with bricks? But I think this should be a wake-up call to all MPs in all provinces. If they go to their hometowns and communities that have voted for them, they must think the security of the people, the security of Botsang going to a township to visit my child and I get hijacked to go and see my child. Or sometimes you want to go to Kasi Fresh to support local business, to wash your car. To say, let me stop paying 150 for washing my car in town. Let me drive 10 kilometers in the nearest township to wash my car and support that boy. Yeah. If I budget 100 rands and if actually find the price being half kokasi, but you still say, I'm used to paying 100 rands, let me pay 100 rands, even if they charge me 50.
And I think to office bearers, if you need security to be in your own neighborhood or the neighborhood you grew up in, if you're not using your local clinic or your local hospital or your kids are not in the local school, there's a problem.
Yes. And that's, in closing from my side, that's the Sankara Oath. That's what Thomas Sankara tried to teach Africans for many years. Many. Who will not have health, education, safety or security in this country correct until political office bearers are using those resources that the community is using them. Maybe the South Africans in voting next year, they must say, we will vote for this political party if they signed an oath that in taking over this ward, the councillor, the kids of the councillor, the spouse of the councillor, they will go to the local clinic, local schools, drink water where we drink. There should be an oath they sign.
Yes.
And if they break that oath, they must be able to go to the IEC and say, we want to remove that councillor because we have signed an oath. It must be a legal, standing document. That's what our people should do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do we find you online?
botsangm@gmail.com or at botsangm on social media handles. And in order to order the book, which is also available on SA Books Online, please WhatsApp me on 083 884 7787.
We're done. Another bumper episode of WAW What a Week, #Politricks. Thank you for hanging out with us. Coming to you from Discover Studios out in Fourways, Johannesburg. Look for them, book them, use them for your podcast, for your DJ set. Whatever you're trying to record, Discover TV will hook it up for you. They live in come and shoot your music video, your wedding. Trevor and his crew at Pezulu Works are also incredible. As you can see, Rebantli, Redese. Huh? Is it 4K? Are we in 4K? We're in 4K. We're not a bunch. You can blame Trevor for that because off camera, hey.
Talk for yourself.
So yeah, look up Pezulu Works. They will document your life, your event, or whatever it is that you need documented. Shout out to our entire crew, man. Keleso Modisakeng is our executive producer. Lati and YBF are doing all of our social media right now. And you are a part of the magic. Till next week, have a wow week in spite of yourselves. We're out of here.